Okay, so here's another way to put it. Um, God refers to himself as the Father. He tries to explain, um, maybe give us some kind of human definition of him so we can better understand him as our Father. If you had kids, I don't know if you have kids or not, you seem kind of young, but, if your kid didn't believe in you or didn't believe in something you said or, didn't believe that you were, their parent even, let's just say hypothetically, would you like throw them in the basement and light the basement on fire for eternity? I mean, does that seem like something that a good parent would do? You can look at it that way. As far as, I would think that you would feel that if you heard of a parent doing something like that because a child didn't believe something the parent was saying or doing, and that was the punishment that they doled out for that particular offense or crime, I would like to think that you would logically see that as being immoral. So I guess the point or the case that I'm trying to make here is that you are more moral than God, because I would think that your answer to that would be, well, no, I don't think that would be right for a parent to do that. Well, God has defined himself as the Father and us as his children. We treat our kids better than he treats us. And, if you're going to go, if your defense of this is going to be to go along the lines of, like you were kind of doing in the last video response, the last video that I responded to of yours, where you and theoretical bullshit were arguing, if you're going to say, well, yeah, but he's God, but he's not just a normal parent, he's not just a normal human parent. Okay, well, he's not, but he used that as an analogy in order for us to better understand him. If we're supposed to look at him like a parent, and that's what he's giving us to try to understand him better, or get to know him better, that he is our Father and we are his children. And then you look around at human beings and you see that they would not do that. I mean, the psychologically sound ones would not do that. Even the atheist ones, usually, as long as they're not psychologically screwed up in the head, would never punish their kids because they don't believe something. It's just like I said earlier, believing in something or even having faith in something or someone, you say it as someone, because like I said, we're talking about a relationship here. That is subjective. That's a choice. That's an opinion. It's not, in other words, it's the same thing as loving somebody. You can't be upset at somebody for not, for their opinion. If my opinion is that God doesn't exist because I don't feel that there is enough evidence to suggest that he does, I don't understand the moral outcome of that, or how it could be moral to punish me forever in eternity in hellfire forever and ever, for eternity. I don't understand how you can be upset with somebody for not believing in you if, they don't have reason to believe in you because there's not enough logical reason to do it, or, because your divinely inspired book has shown contradictions, has shown lies, even has shown that there is no moral reason to believe in you because my moral ground is higher than your moral ground. And it goes back to your definition of a God. And the only thing you said as far as your definition of a God is omnipotent and what is it? Omnipotent and omnipotent. No, that's the same thing. Omnipotent and omniscient, I believe, are the two things. So all-knowing, all-powerful. That's what you said as far as your definition of a God. And I would agree with that. But if a God is all-powerful and all-knowing, then there shouldn't be any contradictions, there shouldn't be any lies, they should be on a higher moral standard than humanity, because as I've argued with you before, I think morals are based off of logic. And God supposedly is knowledge itself, according to the Bible, in a lot of instances. That's not only, I think, said in that way, but it's implied all over the place. But then again, God is also love. And here's my theory with this whole thing, and it's just like I pointed out. You seem to want to say, it seems like you're more comfortable with saying you're a theist than you are with saying you're a Christian. And as I said in another video response, I have my theories on that, and this is what my theory is. I think it's basically that you believe that there probably is a God, but I don't know that you 100% are comfortable with prescribing to the Christian God, And there's, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think you should just kind of, maybe look into that and come to terms with how you feel about that. And like I said, maybe I'm hallucinating. Maybe you really, oh no, I'm 100% Christian, or you can correct me on that. And I hope that you do, because I'd really like to understand where your stand is with what you would label yourself and what you feel comfortable with and what you don't and why. But if you really feel like, yes, there's a God, but I'm not comfortable with the Christian precepts, then just say, you're a theist, you believe that there is a God, but you don't prescribe to any particular religion or something. I mean, the only problem is that you've already come out and said that the reason why you're a Christian over other religions, because I think that's one of the questions I asked you also, is because you agree with, I don't know, I don't remember how you put it, but, like where we came from and how the universe began and all that. I mean, I guess somehow you think that the Christian religion explains that or covers all of those questions that a person might have as far as the Creator and how we came here and all that kind of stuff. You figure that that's answered in that way. Now, I would agree with you, even as an atheist, but I might lose my atheist card for this, but I would agree with you that, there may be something that was a creator. As far as whether it's supernatural or just natural, I would probably lean towards probably more natural or, scientific than it is a supernatural entity. So even as an atheist, I can say, well, there might be something, but I'm going to say thing, I'm not going to say someone, who was the creator, but it's probably a thing or a phenomenon more than it is a supernatural entity or being, as it were. So that might be the only difference. And saying that might make me more agnostic. I kind of think I lean towards agnosticism sometimes. But I think you really just have to come to terms with that, because, for somebody to be going at this from a logical point of view or trying to be logical about this, I think that you're going to find, if you haven't already, that you're going to fail as far as coming out with a logical deducement of, Christianity, because, religion, in my opinion, has all but been debunked. I mean, the idea of a God, the myths surrounding where we came from and what we were created by and everything, those myths, which I call religion, are all just myths. They're all just descriptions of what different societies want to place on this particular, okay, this is what we think, this is where we think we came from. This is the God we think, and this is the description of that God, and this is what we want people to think and believe, and this is the morals we want them to have. And so every different God, the three major religions, all really come from the same God, but, they have a different spin on them based off of what they value as being moral. And so they're just different takes on what we don't know. So, my thing is that if there is a God, it's not a supernatural entity. And it definitely can't be loving. It's something that doesn't care if we die or we suffer or anything else. And that's evidently true, because we've been dying and suffering and, deal with pain and fear and anxiety every day. And we have since the beginning of time, probably since before religion even ever began. We've had that. So to call God loving, for me, is that to me is also a stretch, and it's illogical. You judge people. If you want to look at God as a person or even an entity, you judge them off their actions. If you're going to create beings and you know that they're suffering and they're this and they're that and the other thing, and then you're not there to change anything, and you're all powerful, you could, but you don't, because you so want these people to just choose you out of all this suffering, because it's more of a righteous choice. All that is ego. All that is, choose me even though you don't have a lot of reason to, and even though I left you in a world of suffering, choose me out of that anyway. Believe in me anyway, even though I'm all powerful and I could come down there and fix it. But, just trust that I know what I'm doing because I'm God, and be okay with that. But, use your brain. It's completely contradictory. So, anyway, that's all I have to say.